Today, I want to condense all my spiritual practice or everything that I have learned in my spiritual journey. I want to condense it within the three kayas as a map so that I can relay it and explain it to you so that you can understand the stages, the three levels, the three kayas, and you can understand what the three kayas are doing within your spiritual practice or within our general life, and the charnel ground that we are dealing with, the dark and light component we are dealing with, the ignorance that we are dealing with, and the Great Tribulation premise on how we can properly see and place all of these various knowledge systems. We can place them within the three kayas. So the three kayas means body in Buddhism. So the three kayas, the three bodies in Buddhism are the Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and the Dharmakaya. So every human being, including animals, we all have the three bodies. We all have the three kayas. And the form body that we are born in, this physical carnal form body, is like your Nirmanakaya. So your incarnate self is your Nirmanakaya. And then you have the Sambhogakaya, which is also the speech. And then you have the Dharmakaya, which is the mind. So you have the body, speech, and mind, which directly corresponds to Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya. So body, speech, and mind is basically Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya. So within these three bodies, within the body, speech, and mind, you can categorize this entire reality system of dark and light that we are dealing with. And you can categorize your spiritual tantric path and also all the knowledge system and absolutely everything that we encounter during our spiritual awakening journey. We can categorize them within these three bodies, and you can map yourself where you are in your spiritual journey. So it makes it easy because we live in this massive, basically chaotic system where we have everything. The Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, Dharmakaya knowledge system is all mixed, and part of our tantric spiritual journey is to be able to extract and to put things in their places and where they belong, so that we are not confused about our identity and we are not confused about our path, and we don't accidentally pursue the wrong journey and waste our method and our time and end up in hell. So when we are able to properly map, properly categorize, and properly put everything in their place without being confused and without mislabeling and without misinterpreting, so we can put all of those things in its place so that we can gain the correct knowledge of that situation, so that we are not accidentally pursuing Sambhogakaya as Dharmakaya, or we are doing the Dharmakaya before the Nirmanakaya. So we have to get the stages right, we have to get the map right, and we have to know where we are in this massive, chaotic, basically this massive soup, and everything is mixed together, and it's like one dish. So we have to be able to separate what's what. We have to be able to separate everything, and that's like your purification process. We are not confused or led astray in our spiritual journey, and that we are accurately pursuing and accurately perceiving everything correctly. In the end times Great Tribulation, you are given 7 years, and within that 7 years, you have to achieve your spiritual awakening and you have to achieve your purification, and that will determine your position in either heaven or hell, depending on how you do and how you perform. So it's like a test or like an exam that you have to pass the spiritual test. And so it's not a punishment, it's not someone trying to punish you, it's just the spiritual system and how it is that you have to understand it. And if you don't understand it in the earth level, in the Great Tribulation earth level, if you don't understand it there, then you will have to do that in hell. So it's just like a different levels of learning. So people like me, I'm working pre-tribulation. So people like me, we work pre-tribulation because we learn faster. It's easier to teach us. And the tribulation people, it's a little bit difficult to teach them. So they end up in the tribulation ground for their tantric practice. And through that, they achieve the purification, the rapture, and go to heaven. And the people that fail in the tribulation ground, they will go to hell and they will achieve the purification in hell. So it's like you have the pre-tribulation tantric space, which I'm doing, then you have the tribulation tantric space, and then you have the hell realm tantric space. So they're all there to ultimately lead us to sunyata and to emptiness, to zero. And that's the end goal for everything. Whatever you do, whoever you are, your end goal is to realize sunyata and is to realize zero and emptiness. And that's it. That's this whole thing is about realizing emptiness. It's about leading us to wisdom. So mapping the Great Tribulation with the three bodies, three kayas, the three stages of awakening corresponds to the three kayas. So the three bodies are Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya. The Nirmanakaya, the body's seed syllable is Om, O-M. And then you have the Sambhogakaya, which is the speech. The seed syllable for the Sambhogakaya speech is A, A-H. And the Dharmakaya, the mind, the seed syllable for that is Hum. So you have Om, Om, Aham, Om, Aham, Om, Aham. So you can do that chant to purify your body, speech, and mind. And this also corresponds to the Holy Trinity within the Hebrew system of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And within the Buddhism, this corresponds to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So when you do the Om Aham purification, you can basically map your entire spiritual journey and capture it in the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, or the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Dharmakaya. You can capture it there, and it will become so much easier for you to perceive this world that is in a big mess at this stage. So the Nirmanakaya here I have put under the Father Tantra because we are in the Father Tantra within the Anuttara Tantra Yoga, within the unexcelled tantric space. We are in the Father Tantra, the method, in the methods system, and which is our Father in heaven, our Father in heaven, giving birth to literally everything, not just human beings and animals and this great earth, but also to everything, everything to do with the mind, all our psychologies, all our fears, all our desires, all our wants, all our intelligences, our knowledges, what we take to, what we are inspired by, everything to do with your psychology, everything to do with your emotions, everything that makes a human being, and how we live and perceive the spiritual world, all of that is being generated. So it's not just like a father is generating the body, but he's also generating everything like the wars, the deceptions, delusions, how humanity we chase after materialism. All of those things are the method of a father, and everything that we do in our life is all part of our generation phase, whether we get an education, whether we become a lama, whether we become an artist, whatever it is, it's like we are in that Father Tantra's method generation phase. In order to ultimately realize all of those things are nothing, you have to realize sunyata at the end. So you are allowed this place of free play, this free play space that you are given by our Father, and within that you can do anything. You can have your perceived choices, and you can do anything. But at the end, you have to realize sunyata, whether you're an artist, whether you are a monk, whether you pursue education, whatever you do, at the end, you have to realize sunyata. And that's the great method of our Father. That's the great method of our Father, that we do a lot of form-based activities, that we hold on to all of the we buy into all of these conceptual ideas, and we believe that they are real, and we are meant to do that. We are meant to pursue it in that way as a method, because if we don't do it, we don't know. Like, if we don't physically do it and get to the end of that situation, we will not know, just through conceptually, just by me telling you that you have to realize sunyata, like the work that you do is nothing. If I just tell you that, it doesn't make any sense. But when you get to the end of your journey and you realize that there's nothing there, everything is destroyed, everything is taken away from you, and you're about to go to hell, when you realize that, then you are able to understand that at the end you have to realize sunyata, because all of these things that you're doing is nothing. It's going to take you nowhere. It's for dark and light for us to walk this journey and physically, tantrically do all the things that we desire to do. Basically, everything that we can conjure up in our mind, we do those things, and to ultimately realize that everything is sunyata. That's the method's core message. It's like, do whatever you want, and at the end you realize that only sunyata works. The Father Tantra is the generation phase, and this generation phase, we have had this for the past 6,000 years according to the Hebrew calendar, because our Father in heaven has chosen his genetic masculine link for this earth as the Hebrew culture, as the Jew Hebrew culture. So the masculine principle of our earth, the genetic masculine principle, is the Hebrew lineage. And that's why we have the Hebrew calendar for the end times, because that's the masculine lineage of the entire human species. And everyone that is involved, all the other species like the demons and the fallen angels and the holy angels of heaven, everyone that is involved in this system, that is part of our Father in heaven, the masculine principle is Jewish. The masculine principle is the Hebrew system. And because that is the chosen masculine lineage of our Father in heaven, and that's why our Father in heaven birthed his son Yeshua, Jesus Christ, in the Hebrew lineage. And that's why we are following the Hebrew calendar of the 6,000 years of generation phase. So to understand the Nirmanakaya Father Tantra generation phase, to understand that, all of this activity that we have going on for the past 6,000 years, I want to color code that and explain that with the color gray. So for example, with the color gray, you have the mix of black and white, and you get the color gray. So with the Nirmanakaya Father Tantra, I want to use the color gray to represent that for ease of understanding. And the gray is like the mix of black and white, and it's like a gray area, and we have not had the opportunity to properly go in and basically distinguish what is black and what is white. We haven't done that. So we are in the gray area where the black and white are mixed together. And we believe that black is white, white is black, or there's no such thing as black and white just yet. It is all gray. Some stuff seems good and some stuff seems bad. We are in the gray area without completely perceiving black and white. So we are in that gray area mindset. We are in that gray area mental space. And that's why I wanted to use the color gray, because that perfectly represents this, let's say, a chaotic space where people are trying to figure it out, but we are still in the gray area. It's a little bit difficult to perceive, like, just let's say the next level, and you'll see a lot of conflict within the Nirmanakaya gray area space. People will perceive different things differently, and they want They won't easily accept your idea because they are in the gray area and no one has told them this is how it is, and people are trying to figure it out on their own. So the gray area is like there is a lot of positives and a lot of negatives because we live in duality. So the gray area has both. It's not like the gray area is bad. I was in the gray area before my awakening, and I did not perceive any dark and light. I did not perceive duality. I was just living in the gray area, perceiving this is what life is. Sometimes you're happy, sometimes you're sad. I would never think that I have to go out and achieve enlightenment. I would never think there is a way to go out and have permanent happiness and have nirvana. So it's not something that I would think. I would just think this is life. Sometimes you're happy and sometimes you're sad. And that's your gray area where you are not addressing anything, where you are not like, hey, I want to figure out what this life is about and I want to go and achieve enlightenment. I want to purify myself. All of those higher thoughts we do not have while we are in the Nirmanakaya, while we are in the gray area. And it's so stunning, like the space, if you look at the gray area in terms of the tantric space that it is, it's like a crazy space. But at the same time, we are able to just like live in that pretty much like insanely crazy place as like a normal, regular, everyday human being without really being affected by it, and just live a normal life, have a normal life while living in this massive, demonic, massive, illusionary, massive, ignorance-based chaos. So that's like a gray area. It's like sometimes like when they say ignorance is bliss, that can apply in this situation where like it's so crazy, but because you don't know, you can survive quite comfortably in the gray area, though this world is like, it's like pretty gone because we are unaware. So we can pretty much get away with the fact that we are living with reptilians, that we are living in this massive delusion, that we're all about to go to hell, that we're all about to have the great tribulation. We have no clue, and we are just living as an everyday normal human being in that gray area, not knowing anything about anything. So that's the great tantric space of our Father. That's basically like protects you from this massive tantric space that we are in, like this tantric space, like this unimaginable tantric space where absolutely everything is happening, from enlightenment, resurrection, to pedophilia, murder, and rape, and unimaginable evil. Like the whole spectrum exists on this earth. It's the whole spectrum of dark and light is present. Like nothing is missing in terms of the light, and nothing is missing in terms of the dark. So the totality of the dark is here, and the totality of the light is here as well. And all of that is mixed in the gray area, like this massive tantric generation phase. It's like bubbling with everything, like basically bubbling with, like you can say, pus and feces, and at the same time filled with the most enlightened light of enlightenment and resurrection. So and we have like everything, and we live in that world. We live in that reality of the totality of the dark and the totality of the light. We live in that area. We live in that tantric space because Father has to generate everything, like absolutely everything. But we don't know. We don't know how high the light spirituality is and how high the dark spirituality is, and that they are all here. They are all in our earth. That's your gray area, and that's your pre-awakening place. And that's where you are mentally in the pre-tribulation. That's where you were mentally in the pre-tribulation, in that gray area. So that's the color code I want to use. And the gray area can also be seen as the twilight zone, or like when you have dusk and dawn, like the twilight, the in between dusk and dawn. So you can see, but you cannot really see, like, in the twilight, in the dusk or dawn, it's neither day nor night. It's like that in between space. So that's your twilight space, and that's your gray area, and that's the Father Tantra space is in that twilight, in that gray area, in that dusk dawn space that hasn't separated dark and light. Like I've used the word ambiguity to describe the Nirmanakaya Father Tantra, and I've also used the word undeclared. So when it's ambiguous, it's like it's neither here nor there. It's like, when transgender people, that they associate with both genders, or the demons make them associate with both genders, or there are some demonic races that legitimately feel that they don't have a gender. So they are, like, I think the vrills, they are sexually ambiguous. So it's like that. It's like that space when you have like the gay or like the transgender type people. You can say they fall under like the gray area, twilight, dusk dawn, undeclared. You're neither male nor female. Kind of space. So the undeclared space for me is, it hasn't been told to you that what this world is, because we are in that figuring out space, and someone's saying it's this, and someone's saying it's that, and someone's saying Jesus exists, and some people are saying no, Jesus is just a king, he's not a god, he's just a human being. And so you have that undeclared space, so no one really knows what's going on, and different people believe different things. It's not a declared space. It's not like this is Satan, this is Antichrist, this is Yeshua, Son of God. No one's told us. Like, Satan knows how to hide his identity. He knows how to remain ambiguous. And Antichrist knows how to hide his identity and live in the gray area. Yeshua, Son of God, came here and did amazing work. His identity has been stolen and hijacked and turned into this ambiguous deity called Jesus Christ. So it's all like in the gray area. So we know, but we don't know. We don't know what to believe because it's an undeclared space. There's no clarity there. So that's why I use the word undeclared. And obviously we have a lot of confusion in that space for that reason, because it's undeclared. No one, everyone is in the gray area. Everyone is like, even your celebrities and politicians, they are a different species, and they are blending with us, like they're blending with the humans. It's like that gray, like there's this blending going on, and we're like, oh, the celebrities are humans, this politicians are humans, but they are not, because it's an undeclared space. We haven't classified them as reptilians, we haven't classified them as clones, we haven't classified the humans as humans. So it's all mixed, so it's all in the gray area. And that's, like, you can say, the greatness of the Father Tantra, because we live and cohabit with reptilians. We live and cohabit with species that are extremely dangerous to humans. They harm us, but at the same time we cohabit with them. We exchange with them because we don't know. And if you find out that your favorite celebrity is a demon, they will attack you. But if you don't know, if you are in that ambiguous space, and if you don't know that your favorite celebrity is a reptilian, they won't harm you. But they'll harm you differently, but they won't really harm you. But as soon as it's a declared space that that's a reptilian, they will start attacking you. So there's that ambiguity, that dust on gray area, where there's a mix of species living here, mix of life forms living here. And we don't know about that because it's the Father Tantra, it's the generation phase. So that causes a lot of confusion, that causes a lot of conflict, racial wars, gender wars, religious wars, because of our confusion. We're trying to label it ourselves. We're trying to come up with our own ideas and give it a name or a face. We're trying to work out what Jesus is. We're trying to work out what Satan is. We're trying to work out what the Antichrist is. We're trying to give it a face. And that's where all the confusion and the conflict comes from, because it is an undeclared space. So this is where the mass, undirected, chaotic information comes from. So like we have this gazillion of information, like Jesus Christ has like 1,000 different identities, like 1,000 different versions of him. So that's because it's like undirected, undeclared, confusion, ambiguous. So it's very chaotic. So no one really knows the real Son of God, the real identity of Yeshua. No one knows him, because it's like this mass, undirected, chaotic information. Like it has no direction, and we are living in this massive soup in this gray area. So this space is also your sleep state, and we are in the sleep state. And in Buddhism, they call it like the dream realities. In Buddhism, this reality is taught as only a dream world. It's not the real thing. It's only a dream reality to live in this world like it is a dream and not real. So that's basically Buddhism. So we are in that sleep state. Within the sleep state, when you cohabit dark and light, when you cohabit in this world with demons, when dark and light cohabit together, when humans and clones and reptilians and androids, we all live together in the sleep state, it kind of works because we don't have biases, and we are not like, you clone, we are not, let's say, radical about our human nature, and we are not like, we won't abuse and harass a clone, we won't abuse and harass a reptilian. So if the humans found out clones in this world, if humans found out they're reptilians that live in this world, humans will like annihilate them and end them. But within your sleep state, when you don't know that we inhabit with clones, when you don't know we cohabit with the reptilians, the demonics, they all live with us. When we don't know that, you have like just a normal behavior towards them because you assume they are humans and you just treat them as humans. But if you know, your attitude will change and your mind will shift and you will attack something that is not human. That is a tantric method. That is a method of our Father, so that we as human beings, we cannot be radical about our image, that we have the image of God, and we can be radical about our image, and we can hate the clones, for example, or we can hate the reptilians, for example, and we will be cruel towards them, and we will put them down, and we will look down upon them, and we will oppress them. So all of those things will take place if the humans find out. But if we don't know, we are already treating them well, and we are cohabiting peacefully, and everyone respects each other because in that sleep state, because like if you knew in the Father Tantra phase, if you knew about the clones and the reptilians, this world will be like a bloody world. People will be always fighting and killing each other. Like wait until if one human being finds out that person is a clone, they'll go and kill them. So we have that radical nature as human beings, and you can see that across many cultures, like even with the Jews, when they're very strict with their religion, they're very strict. They tend to hold on to the concept of our Father, and they don't want to let go, and they are very strict with their they're very strict with their beliefs. And like I was watching this video the other day in on YouTube, and I was seeing all of these Jews that spit at Christians in Jerusalem. So anytime an ancient Jew, a heritage Jew, sees a Christian priest or a Christian person or a nun, they will like be physically violent towards them or spit on them. So that's like a thing for a Jew to spit on a Christian is a common everyday thing in Jerusalem. So humans, we can be like that. So if we are just seeing a Christian, like a Jew just seeing a Christian and spitting at them, imagine when a Jew finds out that we live with reptilians and clones. So that's like, Father is like, it's a way to subdue the human. It's a way to subdue us. The Father Tantra will just be like a bloody war, worse than what it is now, because like the humans will really fight. So the sleep state for that is in itself a tantric method. The sleep state in itself is actually good for a peaceful generation phase. At least we can have, let's say, 60% peace in this earth if we have 40% violence. It won't be like 80% violence and 20% peace. If we did not have the sleep state on this earth, it would be 80% violent. It would be like the Nephilim that was ravaging the earth. It would be the same thing. And I think psychologically, we are part of that system. We are still part of that Nephilim. We are still within that Nephilim consciousness. We are still there, and we are still like carnal, extremely carnal. So the Nephilims were children of the angels and the humans, the angels that breached into our earth and had sex with the woman of the earth and birthed children, and those children were called Nephilims, and they became these huge 10-foot giants that would murder, rape, and ravage everything because of like the incorrect genetic mix of angels and humans. So they are the Nephilims. We still are dealing with that kind of consciousness on this earth. So Father has his way to subdue us so that we can have a proper civil generation phase, at least in our earth end, at least within the human end, we can have some civility, and peacefully let this generation phase arise, while we have to deal with some of the more demonic attacks, because the demons are more carnal and they just do certain things. But humans, we can control ourselves better, so we can at least basically host everything, and let the generation phase arise. Okay, so in the generation phase, because we have the Nirmanakaya body, just having a physical human body, you already have, there's already cost associated with that. So you need a bed, you need some clothing, you need like basic food, you need a home. So it's already, there's a cost there. You have like pain and suffering, you have like that 24/7 war space, um, and you also have like the dark that work so hard, like they work so hard for this earth, like just the stuff that they do, and how they overproduce clothing, overproduce food, and they just overproduce everything in this Nirmanakaya space, because it's all to do with form, it's all to do with the manifest world, the manifest reality. And so we have a lot of ignorance in that context, because there's a lot of like too much work, like overworking, for food and water, for the basics. We work so hard for the basics, so you got to like take care of yourself. There's like pain in your body and suffering and diseases and illnesses and all the stuff that comes with just having a human body. Just having a human body is considered suffering in Buddhism. And then with the Nirmanakaya, we also have problems like delusions of dark and light. So everything that the dark are doing, like when they are overworking and the light are overworking, and the dark is making the light work too much, and they're just like creating just to create with no purpose, basically. And it's pretty much disorganized. It's like a slavery-based world, and it's very disorganized. Though we have infinite resources, and we have infinite creative potential and capacity, to have a properly functioning, basically live in a free world if we want to. But we don't have that because of the delusion, because what the dark has told us and what we fell for as spiritual people, that we believe that all this world is all carnal, and we have to go to work to earn money for apples and bananas. So we're not doing anything. We're just paying bills and water and food and clothing. That's it. There's nothing more we're doing with our lives. And the dark have like deluded us into like that carnal lifestyle, to spend all our time, all our money, all our effort, all our methods, even sometimes the spirituality is wasted in like the carnal stuff, just for like apples and bananas. We forgot that we live in a free world, and we have enough human resources and all the capacity to live and function independently on our own. Build a house, grow some food, you're done. And there are gazillion people in this world with gazillion talents to make clothing. There's so much clothing that most of the clothing that they produce in this world goes to the landfill. Most of the food that produces in the Western world goes to the landfill. You should see how much food, the supermarkets, how much food they waste. They waste like buckets and buckets, tons and tons of food, bakery items and foods, that they have to sell on the day. And I've seen, I myself have seen people in the supermarket throwing away food, like tons and tons and tons of food. So it's because of overproduction. So it's everything is not managed properly, and it's just like a facade that looks like it's doing something, but it's very mismanaged. It's all about keeping humans trapped in that carnal space. And that's the massive illusion that we are in, that humans feel that they are righteous and great for going to work and doing like working really hard, but you're working hard for apples and bananas, and that's what you have to realize. So everything is trickery based in that way, because on the surface it looks like you're doing something, but if you dig deeper, there's nothing there. You're not doing anything. All your hard work, if you look closer, if you investigate and look closer at your hard work, there's nothing there. So the humans have been exploited because the humans, we are in a sleep state, and we have been exploited in that terms because we are in that gray area. We are asleep, we haven't been woken up, because we are not meant to. So the dark, the ruling forces, they exploit that. They exploit your sleep state, and they do all sorts of things to you while you are asleep. They make you do all sorts of things because you don't know your identity. You haven't been woken up to your mother tantra. So while you're in your father tantra, while you are in your sleep state, the dark forces exploit your sleep position and make you do all these different things, and they purposely exploit your sleep position because they know. So there are two groups of population on this earth: the ones that know and the ones that are asleep. The satanic population, they know. The human population, they don't know. So let's say the human population is the light spiritual population, we don't know. The carnal population, the dark population, they know. So they know that the humans are asleep, so they will exploit the human state. So there are two groups of people living in this earth, carnal and spiritual. The carnal are quite awake, though if you dig deeper, they don't understand a lot of spiritual things, but they are awake. They know everything. All the disclosure that we are giving, they know everything and more about the dark forces. The carnal people know everything, but the humans, we don't know anything. So two groups of people, two groups of population that know and don't know, cohabit this reality. Revealing true nature of ignorance that ambiguity allows. So when you are not awake, when you are asleep, when you are in your gray area, and you make all of these different choices and all of these different actions and acts that we do, it also reveals your true nature. Because let's say you don't believe in karma, you don't believe in cause and effect, you don't believe in dependent origination, or those things are not taught to us, and we don't believe in that. We don't believe action has consequences, or we don't know those things, so we just tend to do things. So it's like a massive, you can say, a test, like when we don't know anything, when there is no accountability. Let's say there's no God in our head, we don't have a father and a mother watching us, we don't even have a proper identity of Buddha and Jesus. So in that space, what are you going to do? So that's like a perfect test scenario as well, because like the true nature comes out. So because the energy of like a father is so strong, when you see his energy, like you will immediately leave all your bad habits like that, because his energy is so strong, and he will discipline you and subdue all your darkness immediately. But when we don't know, and we can free play, and we can do all the things that we do, have so much fun like kids, do whatever we want to do, it also tests you, or you also have that opportunity to be yourself without that massive authority force shadowing over you. So father will like basically remove himself and let you be, and like go do your thing. You are allowed to play and reveal your true nature, and also play without having like this massive, extremely powerful shadow watch over you or overshadow you. Basically, you are in your own space, doing your own thing in your own freedom. So you are allowed that, and that reveals your ignorance, and that reveals your true nature as well. When we have, like, say, this undeclared space, this gray area, with that, what happens is that everything is open to interpretation. Like the Bible is open to interpretation, the identity of the Son of God is open to interpretation, the Lord Buddha's identity is open to interpretation. And it's all about opinions, it's all about creating your own law, and having your own opinions and doing your own thing. And there's no like law. People don't follow the correct law, and people don't follow the correct spirituality, because everyone has their own opinion, and everyone has their own interpretation of like different things, and that will also reveal your own knowledge, and how, if you are able to decode information, if you're able to understand information. If someone gives you a Bible, how are you going to perceive that Bible? Your opinion about that reveals your intelligence and your level, and how stupid or how smart or how connected or how awake and enlightened you are. It reveals that. Because it is your opinion. No one told you. Let's say our Father in heaven hasn't come down here and told you this is what it is, or the Son of God hasn't declared the truth. We have our own opinions about those things. We have our own opinions about all the teachings, and that reveals your own intelligence and how you are perceiving this reality correctly or incorrectly. And that's like another tantric space, so that if, say, all this time you thought Jesus Christ was um, a Christian God, when the truth gets revealed, then you will realize your perception of that was incorrect, and then you realize that you are not that smart and that you followed the incorrect teachings all your life, and that should lead you to your real awakening. And that is also a method to show you that you don't know, you don't understand. You have to listen to people that know, that you have to listen to the Son of God, you have to listen to our Father, you have to listen to Sunyata, you have to listen to the great teachers, because they know. And it will show you that you have to be obedient and you have to be a student and you have to learn, because all this time you learned all the incorrect stuff and you were tricked and fooled, and they exploited your sleep state. So creating one's own laws, breaking customs and tradition. So we see that a lot, like with the modern system, with the education system, people breaking customs and traditions. You will see a lot of like Nepalese people, like even the ancient cultures I have observed in my own let's say community, that people, like, once they get education, they don't want to take the husband's name anymore. They want to keep their own birth name. They don't want to take the husband's name because they have a master's degree in like sociology or something. So once you have the education and once you have that, let's say, like that modern programming, you think like modern is like advanced. That's what you believe, and you're like, oh, I'm not going to take my husband's name because I'm a feminist or something. And so modernism and education is actually teaching you to break the spiritual law, teaching you to break the holy law. So you saying, I'm not going to take my husband's name, is the same as saying there is no gender. It's the same thing. It's all coming from the same place. It's like saying, oh, there's no gender. Oh, pedophilia is okay. So anything can be allowed, although lines are blurred, and anything can be allowed. And I can be a prostitute. Being fat and unhealthy is okay. Being transgender is okay. Being perverse and pedophilic is okay. Child trafficking is okay. So it all comes from that space. When you break tradition, when you break law, it's very dangerous, because when you break one law, that's just like a seed of what you will do with that and how it grows into this massive pedophilic reality that we are living in. So that's like the danger of ambiguity. That's the danger of an undeclared gray space, because anything goes, and you can be programmed into anything. And those are all part of the Tantra as well, to show you that how you will take into these woke ideas, how you will take into this satanic ideas, how you will easily break custom and tradition and the holy law of our Father, how you break the basic gender law of our Father, how that will create all of this chaos that we are living in, because we are being led astray and programmed into these woke systems. And it's not advanced in education or modern. You are just part of a disobedient satanic system, a rebellious system. That's what it is. Satan is about rebellion. God is about obedience. So if you're breaking tradition, you are part of the rebellion, the angelic rebellion. If you're keeping tradition, you're part of God's obedience. So it will reveal your identity in that way, whether you are rebellious or whether you are obedient. Yeah, so I already said modern ambiguity, example like gender. So gender is like, gender is all over the place right now. That's an example of like modern ambiguity, like you can perceive it that way. Like the gender is blurred, the laws are blurred, the rules are blurred, customs and traditions are blurred, spirituality is blurred. So that's like the gender blurring. That's like transgender, somewhere in the middle, neither here nor there kind of situation. So that's like your ambiguity. And then even cultural races that are in gray areas, like we have migrated to different countries, we are made refugees, or they migrate us to different countries, making us believe that the Western world is better. And people come in here and they realize, like, oh my God, we live in a chemical soup in this world. I want to go back to my own organic country. So you have the cultural gray area, which everything is mixed, and like we are shamed to leave our culture. We are shamed to not speak our language. We are shamed to not have our skin color and hair color. We have to bleach our hair in the Western world. We have to wear a lot of makeup, and abide by like the carnal system and the carnal rules, and look less ethnic and look more westernized. So all of that is like taken away from us, like that cultural ambiguity is there as well. We have to change our identity to fit into like that Western model. So you have that gray area ambiguity there as well. And then you have like all the races are like mixed together, and there's like no protection. It's like when the angels and the humans, they mixed together and they birthed Nephilims, and they just became freaking evil spirits. And that's like exactly the position humanity is in currently, because we are all mixed together and there's no protection, and we are attacked by evil spirits and demonic spirits. And we don't have religion, we don't have a spiritual system to exercise, we don't know how to protect ourselves through the spirituality, because they told us spirituality is primitive and science is going to save you, and everything is based on psychology, and we are just like uh, basically harassed and attacked and completely hijacked by the demonic forces, because we have lost our spirituality, we lost our God, we lost our ancient spiritual methods, how to exercise demons, how to cleanse, how to protect ourselves. We lost all that, and there's no protection in that state, and God can't protect you. You just turned yourself into an evil person. Like you just turned yourself into a Nephilim giant. So when we are all mixed together in that way, it looks cool and inclusive, and it's all based on woke ideas. It's not done correctly. Only Father can do that. Only Father can mix hot and cold. Only Father can bring peace between hot and cold. We don't have that ability. Our rulers, fallen angels, they don't have that ability. Satan was created by Father. Satan is not a god, he's a fallen angel. So they don't have that ability to mix hot and cold. Father has that. So only Father can do that. The ultimate plan is to make angel and human into one seed, to come into this earth, and everyone is leveled at this earth level. That's the ultimate plan, that Father will come down and live in this earth. But within the generation phase in this gray area, the fallen angels are trying to do that. The fallen angels are trying to replicate our Father's future plan and trying to create that system here. But we have no protection as like all of the people that migrate to this country. Australia is like a multicultural country, from the First World War refugees from Europe, Second World War refugees from Europe, Vietnamese refugees, Cambodian refugees, Nepalese refugees, Bhutanese refugees, all these different refugees that has been funneled into the Western world system. We all mix together and we have no protection. So that's like the ambiguity. It's like neither here nor there. On the surface, it might look like it's something, but deep down, there's nothing, because you're neither yourself nor the system is anything. Because like the Western system is nothing. It's just a mix of different things. The Western system is nothing. So it's like let's say there's no foundation. There's nothing to fall back on in the Western system. So I said impure body filled with delusions, dream state. So the Nirmanakaya falls under the body category. So our body is impure because we are filled with delusions. We are all in error. We make so much mistakes, and we have so much illusions to deal with, so much delusions to deal with. And we have like that impure body, and it's basically impure, you can say, because it's like mixed, everything is mixed together. But your sleep state will allow you to like not perceive that impurity just yet, because ultimately the tantra for that is like, even if you already are part of that. You're already like living in a crazy, deluded, demonic, ignorant place, and nothing happened when you didn't know, because the demons can use that and make you really afraid. But when you realize that you're already living with demons, you're already living in an illusion, you're already living in a mirage, you already lived in this world for that long with all of these demons that are in 24/7 telepathy with you, that know you from your birth, that planned your whole life, that lived and breathed with you, sometimes slept with you, sometimes had sex with you through your partner. When you know that, you are not afraid of the dark, because you realize you are always cohabiting with them on a 24/7 basis. And you realize you're already impure. You realize you ate poop and pee. You realize you ate aborted fetuses. You realize you're a cannibal. It's easier for you to overcome and subdue and be initiated into the higher tantra, because you have already done those things in your dream state, in this world, in your sleep state. You were already put through those things. Now you can be initiated into the higher tantra because you've already practiced that. You've already practiced all of that. You've already practiced the tantric stuff that you would never touch, you would never go near. You've already done that in your sleep state. That subdues your fear, because you're like, guess what? You were in telepathy with these demons since you were a kid. How is it any different now? The whole of the heavens could see you having a shower and pooping. How is it any different now when they can see you consciously versus when they can see you in your dream state? How is it any different? So that's all a method, and that's the great compassion, and it trains you in your sleep state. So when you wake up, you've already done all of those things. And that's our Father in heaven, the great compassion. The masculine method is compassion. So in Buddhism, the Nirmanakaya phase is also called the phase of imagination, or the yoga of fabrication. A phase of imagination is when we are living in this imaginary world, which we believe it to be real. So our imagination will perceive this world to be real, and not realizing that we are living in someone else's imagination. So it's not a real world. So like say you have the figure of Jesus Christ, that's someone's imagination of Jesus Christ. It's not the real thing, but we believe that it's real, and our imagination itself told us that we believe that Jesus Christ is who he is, but he's not. The fallen angels, they are doing that. They are playing like this imagination game with this whole system. And it's part of the generation phase. You're meant to like visualize. You can visualize anything. You can create anything in your head. You can visualize a deity and imagine yourself as the deity, and then dissolve them later on. So you can imagine yourself as anything. So that's your yoga of imagination. So you can imagine Buddha to be anyone. You can imagine Buddhism to be anything. You can imagine yourself as a doctor healing people. You can imagine yourself as a wife. Everything is imaginary. Everything is like an illusion. Like we're generating illusions and generating our own imaginations, and they are not real. They don't have any substance, and because they're not going to do anything for you. And also the yoga of fabrication, because it's legitimate whether you look at the larger world, that everything is fabricated. When you awaken, it says like this world is a stage and everyone is an actor, and it is literal, because you have all of the politician celebrities. They're all like world stage actors. They're not real things. They are clones. They are different life forms, reptilians. They're all actors, and they deal with me at that level as well. They're showing me that this world is a stage, and they're all faking it, and they're all having fun in the world stage, that nothing is real. All this politics and stuff that they do, none of that is real. So it's like a yoga fabrication. So they go in front of like these prime ministers. They go in front of the world and pretend to give this most inspirational speech, but it's only a yoga fabrication, and that's how the fallen angels present themselves. So this whole world, whether you look at the world stage, it's called the yoga of fabrication, or you look at your own life, it's a yoga of fabrication, because we've done all of these things, and we fabricated our lives, and we did all of these things, and at the end time we're going to realize all of those things are empty, they amount to nothing, and you actually have to go in and learn the wisdom of our mother. We have to learn the substance, you have to learn the real thing. And right now we only have the human body, we don't have the spirit within us. So we live in the yoga fabrication, and we live in the phase of imagination, because that can be seen as the programming that we have. So all of the programming that tell us, like, this is Jesus, this is Buddha, this is this celebrity, this is Spider-Man, this is this great author, and this is Nelson Mandela, and this is like the Queen of England, and they'll tell us all of these different things. And they're like, we invented this and we invented that, and we went to the moon and we built rocket ships. So they'll tell us all of those things and we'll believe. So it's all programming. It's not ours. It doesn't belong to us. It's not coming from the Holy Spirit, because we are not in the Holy Spirit phase. We are still in the yoga fabrication, the phase of imagination, which is this Father Tantra phase. We are still in that phase. This whole world is an imagination, it's a fabrication, and that's your Father Tantra. And this world has like no substance, and because it's carnal, it's only the physical body, it's only the form without the spirit. It's carnal without the spirit. It's only the hardware. We're yet to install the real program. We haven't had the real program. We haven't had the spiritual program. We haven't had the program of our Father's feminine. We haven't had the program of our mother. We are just living in this self-generated imaginary world that we created, our own music, our own movies, our own celebrities, our own inventions, our own this, our own that, and we believe those things were real. Because the carnal is like a robot. Like when in a robot you program all of these things and it walks and talks. So humans are like that in their carnal state. It's like a computer that is just a computer or just a hardware, and you put a software in there, and then you can do different things with the computer. So it's like that. If you don't install like a software, you cannot use the computer. So like the Father Tantra phase is like a robotic phase, a robot just with computer programs and not the Holy Spirit. So that's basically, that sums up the human life. It's like a organic robotoid. That's why we have the clones, because it's like a reflection of reality. It really manifests. And if you look at the clones, our life is no different to them. So humanity is like a organic robotoid, and we just run programs. We just run on the Father Tantra program that everyone has generated their own version of this reality, and it's just which one we buy into, what we believe. And that's our internal program, and we operate through that. So we are just basically running on other people's programming. We are running on other people's understanding. We read a book and we're like, oh, this must be the truth. And we are programmed by a book, we're programmed by a movie, we're programmed by celebrities, spiritual gurus, politicians, these great politician people that they put in the mainstream world. We are programmed by all of those people, and we do not have our own spirit. We do not have our own Holy Spirit, and we do not have our own work. We are at the mercy of the idols of this world. That's what the Father Tantra is. It's basically a carnal form without the Holy Spirit yet. This is the Nirmanakaya, which is like a organic robotoid, organic clone human being, organic robotoid. So that's your carnal phase, that's your Nirmanakaya. So that's the 6,000 years of your robotoid generation phase. And in the end times, we will go into the Mother Tantra phase, where you will be given a spiritual software, and you actually have to go in and start training yourself to gain the real software. That's where the word deprogramming comes from. Deprogram from this world and gain the real spirit. And that's your next phase, which is the Sambhogakaya phase. So the Nirmanakaya is your organic robotoid phase, where you live within the programming system of the Father Tantra. And in your Mother Tantra phase, in your Sambhogakaya, you are initiated into the Mother Tantra. And that is the real software. That is the real deal. That's the real thing. That's what you want inside of you. You don't want all of this worldly system programming that you want to get rid of. That's what the Mother Tantra is for you to get rid of this world programming and to install the real Holy Spirit inside of you. And that's your Mother Tantra. And that's the second phase that you will go through in your second phase, which is your Sambhogakaya.